Dad.
Hey, good morning to you and everybody.
Good morning to all of our friends and community out there in the world. Good to see you. Thank you for being here with us today as we honor the wisdom traditions that were shared with and passed on with great responsibility to you, Dad, by your Indigenous teachers and mentors, and some of those same folks that I got to know and work with, and then of course you raising Nicole and I, we got to learn a thing or two, and still are, from each other. So, um, anyways, we're happy to be here today and share that with the rest of the global community out there, whoever may join us today or at a future moment. So, one of the key principles of this work that I understand is to be a sacred reciprocity and not taking before you give. So, you want to start us off in a morning prayer?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Gratitude for this life force that we're given, that we don't create, but the powers of the universe, whatever you want to call that, obviously believes in us enough to manifest us exactly as we are, sacred, worthy, luminous beings of light and love that is forgiving and gives us the life force today, flowing in with the breath. So thank you, Creator, great mystery, source of the life force. And thank you for family and our ancestors and the ancestor spirits of the land we live on. We remember you here, and prayers for the people. Great grandmother growth, to Kutsinakawe, growing us all through this early time in the winter, this time of going within to listen and feel and drop deeper into what's most important for us to pay attention to in this life, so that when we reach the end of our lives, after may it be so long, healthy, happy, fulfilling, walking the heart path road to completion lives, we can feel good about how we showed up to do the best we could to nurture and cultivate the gifts you've given us to share with the world, with the people, for healing of the sacred hoop. And may it be so. Thank you for bringing us together here right now, and thank you for Kimberly's vision to start this Shamanic Sundays and welcome everybody with going to meeting on Sunday morning. Hey,
All right. Yes. So we got a couple of questions in, and I think we can weave them together. So one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about is the difference between shamanism. How does shamanism differ from nature-based spirituality as opposed to indigenous based spirituality? Um, if they do, I mean, I know there's differences in the way they play out different traditions and tribes and um, belief systems, the manifestation of the rites and rituals, if you will. But I'm curious what your perspective is on that.
so say it again: shamanism, indigenous spirituality. What was the third one?
Nature-based spirituality.
Nature-based spirituality. Well, I think they're all just different clothing for the same essence. All different finery, coats and dresses and whatever you want to put on, with words, understanding intellectually what underneath it all is the dynamic, you might say, of people living in nature.
Hmm. As part of nature, I would say.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and pay attention to how nature works. And so
Hmm.
nature works in the same ways all around Mother Earth's body, the same cosmic cycles and rhythms, different places on Mother Earth's body, the same underlying dynamics of how nature works, the impermanence of all physical materiality, and how all physical materiality comes out of nothingness, the no thingness of the sacred mystery, the fertile void. And so paying attention to how it works, then you know your life is dependent on how it works, which means being in harmony, which means being in respectful relationship, which means being in a humble relationship, recognizing you're not running the show. It's being run by forces much deeper and older and wiser than you and your ego. And so and those powers have the ability to not just take you out, but take the whole planet out anytime in an instant. And and yet here we are. And so paying attention to how nature works, and the practices and the behaviors that come out of paying attention to how nature works are all focused on being in harmony with it, being in respectful harmony with it, and walking, you might say, in balance with all, living in balance with all those forces, which means constantly changing, which means constantly staying attuned and paying attention to, with awareness, how the energies of manifestation are working in the particular larger field and individual field of your own body and your where you live and your community, your family. To get the information from the truth of what's happening, so you can create a harmonious relationship and be a channel for waking up and a channel for healing light and love coming through in support of continuation of life. And that's a shamanic practice. Shamanism is an understanding of earth-based, spirit-based through earth practices about keeping that attunement of harmony and balance and respectful relationship. So all three of those, shamanism, nature-based relationships, and indigenous wisdom, are all the same thing. They're all the same essence, with wearing different clothing. Maybe on Monday, certain clothing, and then on Tuesday you change that. Now I think I'll wear this, and Wednesday, Anyway, bottom line, juntos, todos unidos, all united together.
All united.
That's what the Huichols say when you're about to finish the fire ceremony the last night in the Pueblo before you go out on pilgrimage. Everybody's been up most of the night and already fasting and doing all different ceremonial rites. And then finally, when it's time to go, to load up onto the vehicles to begin the 300-mile journey to Huiricut, to the Holy Land, everybody yells, "Juntos, juntos, juntos, juntos. Todos unidos. We're all united. Let's do this. Celebrating Aloha, the sacred unity of life." Oh,
all right. Let's do this. We are doing this.
Yes. Praise be. May it be so, and so it is.
Yeah, thank you. So, storytelling is such an important part. Well, it's an important part of life, of course, but in carrying forward excuse me, indigenous traditions, storytelling is just so powerful. And for many cultures and traditions, there wasn't a written word per se to pass on stories. And so the power of passing wisdom on from generation to generation, of course, laid in storytelling, was based in storytelling. So I was wondering, one of the questions we got today was around the 7 directions, and calling in the 7 directions, doing one's prayers to the 7 directions. There's so many ways that we can work with the 7 directions in our lives, and same with power animals. So, which was also part of the question of working with power animals and the 7 directions. So I'm wondering, we can, dig into these separately at some point in the future. But today, given the 2 questions, I thought it could be really cool if you would tell us the story about how you first learned about the 7 directions and about power animals.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let me just say it out loud, my understanding of what you're asking, so I can respond appropriately. How I learned about the 7 directions, and how I learned about the existence of power animals.
Yeah, like which, part of that is which mentors or teachers taught you, and how did they teach you, and what your experience was. What comes to mind as the story of how you learned about working with these?
Well, what comes up initially was my first native teacher, indigenous teacher, a man named Jim St. Martin, who was an art teacher at the junior college in Marin, where I was living at the time. I guess this was maybe 1971. And I just started a year earlier drug treatment program with Roger Smith, and then we'd hired a couple other people, and that became the skeletal foundational base for a program that eventually received an $8 million grant from the feds and was honored around the country for its innovative work with heroin addicts in the early 70s. And there was so much heroin coming into middle America in those days because of all the young people sent off to the horrible war in Vietnam and getting strung out on cheap heroin there to try to cope with the horrors that they were experiencing. And then coming back to the United States, now they were addicted, and so they couldn't get cheap, easy heroin here, and so I had to resort to crime to do it, and it led to all kinds of problems. And so the drug program that I helped start in 1970 was to address those problems. Out of that came a desire, guidance, I guess that's my best way to put it, guidance from spirit to start a wilderness project, a wilderness-based project utilizing mountain climbing and rock climbing and river running, whitewater river running, and time in the wilderness, tuning and opening to the wilderness, and to try to winter camping, snow camping, ski touring, making our own snowshoes, and all kinds of activities in relationship to working with the powers of nature and the powers inside of us that the heroin addicts were alienated from, and so felt they needed the hit of heroin to be able to deal with what they were experiencing inside, and that was so troublesome to them and so hurtful. So to get involved with things like rock climbing, for instance, nobody pulls you up the rock face, nobody pulls you up the mountain. You have to do that yourself. So you have to learn how to take responsibility for yourself and be in situations that are tremendously frightening and fearful and anxiety producing heights, climbing heights, face the fears, and by facing them with support of training and staff, myself and the others that I hired, good people, were able to teach basic rock climbing skills and safety skills. And then people were able to have the experience by facing their fears of climbing something that they didn't think was possible to do and being tremendously anxious and fearful, but nevertheless accessing inner resource states to be able to successfully accomplish the challenge without the access to heroin. So it builds self-esteem and self-confidence. And that was some of the dynamics of the program. Anyway, at one point, we built into that program a time of solitude, fasting in nature, and 24 hours initially that people would go through. And when I went through that, I experienced the power of it and realized I need more of this. I'm just scratching the surface of it. And lo and behold, I came to find out that experience of solitude, fasting in nature, and just opening yourself to attunement with nature, with humility and attention, is a vital dynamic of initiation into responsible adulthood for many of the Plains Indians people and many other people all around. In fact, indigenous people all around the world who recognize young people now need to be initiated into responsible understanding relationship with the dynamics of life so they can live life in a way that supports the continuation of healthy life, and i.e. the rites of passage. And so Vision Quest, I learned initially for the Lakota people, was a vital part of that initiation process into this responsible spiritual adulthood. And I wanted to learn about that. I read a book about it. So that's really fits with my experience of what I felt when I was out there fasting alone in nature and up in the high Sierra, 10,000 feet altitude, and frightened of bears and mountain lions in the dark, and having to face all of that and what I got in touch with, what it opened the doorway to. So I wanted to learn more about that, and I realized I need a native teacher, someone who is born into these traditions and that I might be able to learn from. And so I kind of put that call out to the universe, you might say. I just sent that vibrational intention of the possibility of the universe bringing me, of spirit, whatever, bringing me together with a native teacher who could begin to teach me some of what I hunger to learn about. these ancient traditions of based on harmony and respectful relationship with the powers of nature, seen and unseen, and the great mystery underlying it all. And so several months went by, and I was teaching a class in introductory psychology at the junior college at the time, and found out on the staff was an art teacher who was a native man. And I went to speak to him and hopefully to initiate a relationship, which initially he wasn't very open to. And he was kind of, I could feel anger energy in him, and maybe resentment energy coming to me as a white man seeking to learn about his indigenous people's ways. And was I another white man coming to just take what's most valuable to them that's been done to them for 500 years with no recourse thought of giving back, of respect, of appreciation, of balance, just take. And was I another one of those white people coming to take in an irresponsible way what I wanted to serve me without any recognition of responsible relationship. So anyway, I could feel energy from him, but he didn't say not to come back and see him again. So I did, and I continue to come back periodically to set up visits with him. And eventually I asked him for help and guidance with preparing for and understanding how to prepare in a good way from his people's traditions to go out into nature again for a longer period of time than 24 hours, and to fast and to just be there in a place of power and open myself up to that power and mystery unfolding and try to learn from it. And he said to me, when was the last time you said, you lie down in the earth on your chest with your face down into Mother Earth there and thanked her for what she's been giving to you every moment of your life, not just when you're awake and aware of it, but every moment of your life she's been giving to you. And to the extent that you haven't said, hey, thank you, in some way that's meaningful to your integrity, you're way out of balance in your life. You're not in harmony, respectful harmony with life. And so the essence of the underlying dynamics of going out to seek vision from the Great Spirit, is the truth that you don't know how Great Spirit might give you something that you seek. Of course, you'll be tested first to see how sincere you are in what you say you want. And if you're willing to be patient over time with faith and trust as all your fears and anxieties are triggered, and you get to explore what do you have faith and trust in, if anything, and you get to explore that. So in this questing experience, there's always help coming to you 24/7 from Mother Earth, from above powers, and from each direction, east, south, west, and north that you face. There's power, energy, help, teachings, medicine being given to you 24/7. Those are the 7 directions. The 7th direction is the power in the center, from which all it's like the cosmic seed of the Big Bang. Everything that exists on the material plane in the universe birthed out of that initial cosmic seed that just spread out and grow, and it's still growing, and its growth is expanding. The physicists tell us that the expansion of the universe is accelerating. The space of the universe is accelerating. So when you go out on your quest, you should come back exhausted. Why? Because you've spent your whole time out there going to each of those 7 directions and opening to its power, and in a way that's meaningful to you and your integrity, saying thank you. Not taking, but giving back in some way to each of those 7 directions. And that's what you do to try to address that imbalance of, I don't know how old I was at the first quest. Well, I can figure it out. This March, 2 months from now, I'll be going out on my 50th quest. And so I started in my mid-20s, since I'm going to be 79 here in a couple of weeks. Something like that. My math's not the greatest, but something like that. It's been a while. And he said, maybe if you continue this way in your life, you don't just, not on quest, but you bring home what the assignments you get from the vision quest. Similar as the assignments you get from doing psychedelic medicine work in a responsible way. You get homework, you get assignments to integrate into your life. And if you integrate them into your life, you honor those teachings, then you're given more. And if you don't, then the pipes are just clogged up. And you're cutting yourself off from that always potential access to the wisdom, creative power, intelligence of the universe. It's always available to us. And so the quest and the teachings, or my introduction to the existence of these 7 powers, was through Brother Jim St. Martin. And I don't know if you're still with us or in the spirit world, but wherever you may be, thank you for your sharing. Eventually, Jim said to me, if you want to go deeper into understanding these ways, including the fact that that in the truth of sacred unity with Great Spirit, with the infinite wisdom power of the universe, in which we're all interwoven in us, you have helpers available to you from that spirit world. You have helper spirit energies, and in their culture, in indigenous culture, that was through power animals, power plants, and power animals, and the spirits of power animals. And one of the reasons to go out on quest is to open yourself up with humility, to ask that if it's for your greatest good, you might come into a conscious relationship, the spirit of your power animal. Everybody born comes into this life with at least one power animal spirit that has medicine to offer to help you with your life. Another lens on the understanding of reality and access to it, and powers and wisdom and intelligence and sensitivity that comes to you from that power animal to help you meet the challenges of your lives, not from ego, but spirit's help and guidance, and which power animal helps you to open to and attune with. And so you can walk a heart path to completion, to fulfillment, and feel good about your life when you look back on it when it's time to go. So that was my entry. And Jim said to me at one point, if you want to go deeper with all of this, you're going to have to learn how to, what do you call, lift up the buckskin curtain, lift up the buckskin curtain so you can go underneath it and connect on that deeper level with medicine people. Jim didn't consider himself a medicine person, never called himself that, but he carried medicine. And I was very appreciative of him saying that to me. And it wasn't too long afterwards, I guess maybe when I came back from my first quest, that he guided me into in the ways I mentioned and shared what I shared that came through for me. Then he lifted the buckskin curtain for me. He said, there's a medicine gathering next, well, at that time, coming up. And he told me where it was and he was going, and he would take me there. And he would introduce me to medicine people there. And that's what happened. That's how that's the story of how I came into my initial relationship with the 7 directions. And then on these 50 years of quests and in the medicine journeys and pilgrimages over the years, here in Turtle Island and other places around the world, came into a deeper ongoing appreciation of the powers and medicines and ways of working of each of these seven directions, and deeper intimacy to where I connect with the spirit of my power animals every day with gratitude and prayers for their people and their families, and keeping that attunement channel open so I can call on them and receive their help and guidance for doing exactly what I'm doing right now, opening, surrendering to spirit, and letting spirit speak through me in response to the questions, so that it's not my show, it's spirit's show. I'm just being a mouth for spirit bringing through what it wants to bring through me, hopefully, in alignment with what serves fullest blossoming and greatest good for everyone listening, and helping us to join our hearts and minds and spirits to attunement to the truth of polishing up our stardust to be able to shine out and live from the love that we are for healing the sacred who. Ho, Ombrios.
Thank you. Thank you to
Yeah.
Jim. Thank you to Jim, too, for that. um, so, always wanting to be cognizant of the time and folks joining us here. So, rather than get into depth today about the 7 directions, maybe we'll save that for next week. But could you just first, 2-part question here as we jump into our visualization. Could you first tell us one word? I'll say each direction, and you just say one word that comes to mind.
Okay.
And then could you take us on a visualization of connecting with whatever direction or directions feels the most resonant and important, powerful, helpful to each of us here today.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay, cool. All right. So I have to not say the word that it's funny because in my prayers, I have such phrases that I use with each direction. So I just have to literally say east,
illumination,
south,
faith,
west,
introspection,
north,
sabiduría, wisdom,
above.
fantastic beauty and power.
That was more than one word.
I've always had trouble coloring just inside the lines. I'm a troublemaker. What can I say?
And below,
Growth,
within,
mystery,
center, the center.
mystery.
Okay. All right. Now, could you lead us on a visualization about connecting with whichever of those directions and words resonates most with us today?
The word mystery just jumps into my awareness like a wave coming up from below. The mystery with me. One way of doing that, it's helpful.
Wait, Dad. Sorry, we just lost you for a second. Could you said the word mystery comes into mind, and then could you repeat what you said?
Oh my God, I got to remember what I said. You're
I
pushing
know.
the envelope, girl.
Sorry.
The coyote messing with the technology, mystery, sacred mystery. So one way it helps me connect with, one of many ways it helps me connect with mystery is to go to the looks within place, letting the curtain of my eyelids drop over my eyes so I don't see the external world. My vision is the internal, in which there's no things, there's nothingness. There's just energy dancing in the ways that it dances through darkness with light, in whatever way you might experience that in your own diversity. Mystery. Everything comes from sacred mystery. Sacred mystery. Lakota people, they don't have the word for God. They say, Wachantanka, Wachantanka. It means, translates as sacred mystery. That at the center of all manifestation, at the center and within all is sacred mystery, the creative wisdom, power, intelligence of the universe that we live in and that lives in us. And to live in a good way with sacred mystery, in a healthy way, in a way that promotes harmony and balance and high level wellness and the attunement with our heart path calling, guidance, and the courage to walk it as best we can, and to do the work to polish our stardust, to free ourselves up from the imprisonment of ego identity, to connect with the deeper essence of our being, which is at one with sacred mystery. Infinite sacred mystery. There's a saying from an ancient Taoist wisdom tradition in China that speaks to this mystery. Those who cultivate the universe, the mystery, identify with the universe, the mystery, and those who identify with the mystery, the universe, are welcomed by the mystery. So I just invite you to take a few moments to feel into, with your own gift of awareness and your own sensitivity and your own intelligence and deeper wisdom, what comes up for you to think about, reflect on the experience of being welcomed by the infinite mystery of the universe. That right this moment of being alive, which is the only moment we ever have, and so it's sacred, this sacred moment of being alive, opening to the idea that the creative wisdom power of the universe, the mystery, the great spirit, the Holy Mother, whatever image, word, concept you want to apply to the mystery, it's beyond intellectual ability of understanding because it's infinite, but it is, and it's right here, right now. It's giving us life and opening ourselves up to the understanding, the possibility that this mystery loves you, loves us, welcomes us. And in fact, we can open to the physical fact of it welcoming us by noticing how we're being breathed by it in this moment, that it's giving us life in the precise bodies that we're living in, with the precise gifts of awareness that help us experience through our senses, our feelings, through listening, through vision, through intuition, being welcomed by the sacred mystery of the universe, the center of all, which is everywhere. And so gratitude to you, Wakantanka, sacred mystery, for giving each and every one of us hearing these words, the sacred gift of life, this day, the opportunity to birth those qualities of consciousness and being we want to have grow stronger in our lives. This is the day we're given opportunity to do so. With great gratitude for all the help that you give us, if this is our choice of how to live in integrity and authenticity and soulfulness, walk on our heart paths, if this is our choice. Thank you for the power that comes to us from above and below and from the east, the south, the west, and the north, and the power, mysterious power at the center. Wakantanka, sacred mystery, Holy Mother, Takutsinakawe, great grandmother growth, growing us in the deeper realization of our interwoven oneness with all of creation and the sacred oneness underlying the manifestations of the beauty we see and know in this middle world. Thank you for this day, the opportunities to know you, to love you, and serve you. Walk our good heart paths, the fullest blossoming, greatest good, showing up in some way to help heal the wounds of the sacred hoop for a peaceful, just, win-win world for all. Blessings of this day of Sunday, coming to meet you, Great Spirit, each other, fullest blossoming, greatest good. Ho! Hi.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And don't
And
forget, Wop Bop a Loo Bop.
Wop Babaloo Bop,
Yep.
Sha Na Na. I also want to just I often have to remind myself, and so sharing with our community out there also that each of us is part of the sacred hoop. That it's not something out there that we have to heal. That we're part of it, and just as we are part of nature and stewardship of ourselves and each other, and like what we Westerners perceive as nature out there. It's like we're all part of it. So we're in this together, and so stewarding yourself. And we had some comments of folks needing some help. A reminder: you can send questions ahead of time. The recordings are all up on my dad's YouTube page at Dr. Tom Pinkson, and may good healing come to each of you through this process together. Thanks for helping bring it through, Dad.
Oh, thank you. And everybody listening, thank you for your lives. You are a
Yep.
blessing. Oh.
Yep. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.
Woo.
Bye.